Welcome back to the Becoming Mind Strong podcast. Later on this season, we're going to do an episode about the 3 biggest factors to success when it comes to losing weight in menopause. We've been doing this a long time, over 3,000 women, coming up on a decade, which is bananas. And in that time, you see some trends. You see what hinders people, and you see what leads to success. So later on, we're going to talk about the successes. But for today, we're going to talk about the roadblocks. So today we are diving into the 3 biggest things that ruin your results when it comes to weight loss in menopause. Check it out. Much like everything I teach, this is not Rachel's Laws of Health and Fitness. This is as a very data-brained, pattern-driven person in helping as many people as we have over the years. Again, you see some patterns. You see what are the factors that lead to success and what are the roadblocks, the bottlenecks, the things that stop people from being successful. So let's dive into the top 3 that I have seen over the years that slows down or hinders progress altogether. First and foremost, the heaviest hitter is continuing to do things that aren't working. And I want to be very clear here. There is no shame, blame, guilt associated with this, right? I've talked about this a lot in the podcast. So if you go back and listen to older episodes, you'll understand more of the why under the surface. But one of the things you hear me say time and again is that we are not broken in menopause. And it is true that the tool bag of our 20s, 30s, early 40s, it doesn't work anymore, right? It doesn't mean we're broken. It means we need a new tool bag when it comes to health, when it comes to weight loss and menopause. The problem is nobody's talking about this stuff, right? We're not teaching in med school. Our doctors aren't talking about it. 30-year-old Jane Smith trainer on social media who's nowhere near menopause has no idea about this stuff. So they're spitting in our face, screaming, eat less, move more, keep cutting calories, and it's making the problem worse. So there's a few places that this really manifests from what we've seen from doing this again for years and years and thousands of women. Number 1 is obviously cutting calories, right? If you're already eating low calorie and not losing weight, continuing to cut calories is making the problem worse. It's the same conversation with cutting carbs. It's the same conversation with intermittent fasting. It's the same conversation with keto. And when I tell this to women, like intermittent fasting is one of the worst things you can do for your body in menopause. Keto is terrible for your body, period, and in menopause, right? Your body needs carbs in a menopausal stage of life. The thing I hear time and again is, but Rachel, it worked for me in the past. And kind of my cheeky answer is, well, how's it working now, right? If it was working, we wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast. And I get it. Again, there's no shame, blame, guilt here. How are we supposed to know this? It worked before. Logic would say it should work now. Our brain has a lot of proof. And we need to stop the bleeding. So if you are doing things that used to work and they are no longer working, stop doing them. You are digging the hole deeper. We're taking a 6-inch hole and we're making it 6 miles long. Roadblock number 1 that I see time again is trying to do the things that used to work and aren't working anymore. Number 2, when we're talking about things that block us from being successful in weight loss in menopause, is expecting to release weight the way that we used to. And again, all of these are going to tie together. Very similar conversation of the yeah buts. Yeah, but Rachel, in my 20s, I could eat healthy for a week and, cut out some junk food, eat a few salads, maybe do a bit of cardio, my body released the weight. And again, my kind of cheeky answer is, well, in my 20s, I could stay at the bar till 4 a.m. and wake up at 7 and be fine. Like, we are not living in the same body that we were. It doesn't work like that anymore. So if we are expecting, I'll just go low calorie and stay there as long as I need till my body releases the weight, number 1, you're going to do more harm to your metabolism, right? The reason a lot of us need what we call a healing stage, and go back to earlier episodes and I'll go deep into a healing stage. But a big portion of that is that our body is a powerhouse at adaptation. So if you stay low calorie too long, your body says, oh, this is who I am and what I do now. This is my maintenance. This is homeostasis. So staying low calorie too long is doing a disservice. It is ruining your metabolism. And number 2, you're not going to release the weight. You're just going to dig the hole deeper, but it's not actually going to work. One of the big mindset shifts that we especially have to address in menopause, in reality, this is the thing I pray we start teaching women in their 30s, is that when done correctly, weight loss has to be a pop in, pop out kind of deal. Last season, I did a whole 5-part series on what I call the weight loss cycle. This is how I hate the word should, but I'm going to use it here. We should have been approaching weight loss our whole life. We get into a deficit, we lose some weight, we have to go back to maintenance in the name of keeping our metabolism healthy. So if we're coming in with this mindset of, yeah, but, right, there's the red flag. Yeah, but in my 20s, I just stayed low calorie until I hit my goal. Using those same methods is not going to work. You're going to be frustrated and you're going to do more damage. We have to come in with expectation management. In menopause, weight loss takes longer. We have to heal our metabolism first if we're already eating low calorie and not losing. And we have to start thinking of weight loss as a pop in, pop out kind of deal. If you have just a few pounds to lose, sure, you might lose it in your first go around on this weight loss cycle. If you have 50, 80, 100 pounds to lose, there is no world in which you are going to lose it in that first go around. It might take a couple cycles to do it. And by a couple, I mean a few if it's a large amount of weight. And the beauty of this is it's biology. When we can play long ball, when we can understand the name of the game is the longer I do this, the longer I keep my metabolism healthy, the faster and better results I get, the more successful we're going to be. Real quickly, before we keep going in this episode, we are talking a lot about metabolisms in menopause in today's episode. So I want to offer you a chance to deepen your knowledge. If you haven't yet checked out my free workshop, How to Fire Up Your Metabolism in Menopause and Beyond, it is one of my go-to favorite pieces of content that I have out here in the interwebs. You can use the link in the show notes below or go to mindstrongfitness.com and you'll get a cute little pop-up that'll get you straight into the workshop. Now, let's get back to the show. And number 3, when we're talking about the biggest roadblocks to being successful with weight loss, this one's a no-brainer. Giving up. One of the things I love to say to people, when we teach people how to track macros, and we talk a lot about getting away from diet culture. There's no good food, bad food, allowed food, not allowed food, right? We will never use those words. It's nutritious and less nutritious. And you cannot mess this up unless you quit. If you know me, you know I love me some donuts and some whiskey, right? Do I eat and drink it every day? Absolutely not. And if I choose the power of choice to have a donut or two and a glass of whiskey or two, I didn't cheat. I didn't splurge. I don't have to start again next Monday. I don't have to go down the rabbit hole of, I had one donut. I may as well have 12. This is the beauty. This is why macros are the single thing that in over a decade, this is what I teach. If there were 12 approaches, I would teach 12 because differentiated learning is real. I know that macros are the single most sustainable approach to nutrition because there's no restriction. And they are the necessary stepping stone to get to intuitive eating. I did a whole episode about what to do if you hate tracking and understanding it's that stepping stone to get to intuitive eating. So I say that because you cannot mess this up. You are going to have days where you crush it, you hit your macros, and you are a rock star. And you're going to have days where you completely blow your macros, you don't even get close. You're going to have days where you're like, screw it, I don't want to track my macros today. As long as you get right back on, you will be fine. Our body responds to what we do on a long-term basis, not individual days. You cannot blow this in a day. The only way you can truly mess this up is say, screw it, I give up. You hear me talk about a lot, if you listen to those episodes, especially about a healing stage. A healing stage, meaning getting your metabolism better at burning calories. It is slow, it is tedious. I refer to it as climbing a mountain, right? It's slow, it's tedious. I'm sure there are people in the world that want to do it. I can't imagine that there's tons of them. No one in the history of ever has come to me and said, Rachel, can you teach me to eat more food with little to no weight gain? Most of us are here for what's on the other side, the weight loss. And it's necessary, right? We physically cannot run a marathon if we don't know how to crawl. We physically cannot lose weight without drugs if we don't have a metabolism that's good at burning calories. My purpose in saying this is, if you're climbing a mountain and you get tired, it makes a lot more sense to set up camp and chill and rest before you keep climbing versus option B, which is let me roll back down the hill and start all over from the beginning, right? One of those is much more logical. And it is the same thing here, right? If you blow your macros one day, if you're getting annoyed by a healing stage, if you're feeling hungry during a weight loss stage, if you're at maintenance, you're getting bored, it makes a lot more sense to give yourself a little bit of a break. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a couple days, maybe it's a week. You just take some time off mentally, physically, and get right back to it. The only way you mess this up is by saying, screw it, I'm done, roll down the mountain. And then you have that epiphany moment where you're like, Well, crap. There is no plan B. Like, that was the plan. I should have just rested on the mountain because now I just backed up, hundreds of feet and I have to start all over. You can't mess this up until you give up. So those are the three biggest roadblocks to seeing results when it comes to weight loss, period, but especially in this menopausal world. Number one, being determined. I'm going to keep doing the stuff that used to work, even though I know it's not working. And by the way, it's not working for a lot of us means it's actually doing the opposite, right? If you're already eating low calorie and you keep cutting them and you keep amping up cardio, you've probably noticed the scale is moving in the opposite direction. So it's not just that it's not working, it's making the problem worse. Stop the bleeding, stop doing the old techniques, listen to more episodes of the podcast, email us, get help from someone, and learn how to do this correctly for menopause. Number two, expecting your body to release weight the way that it did in our 20s, our 30s, maybe even our early 40s. We have to start thinking of weight loss as a pop-in, pop-out kind of deal. And number three, cheesy as it sounds, it is absolute capital T truth. You cannot mess this up unless you give up. If you need a break, if you're feeling tired, set up camp, chill, give yourself a mental, physical break, but then keep going. And I promise you, your future self is going to look back at your past self and want to kiss her on the mouth and say thank you. I am hosting the largest event we have ever done in MindStrong history, and you don't want to miss it. From March 3rd through 5th, 2026, join me live on Zoom, totally free, for MindStrong's Runway to Summer, my 3-day metabolism boosting challenge. To join and for more details, go to www.mindstrongfitness.com/challenge or just use the link in the show notes below.